Good evening, kiddies. This is your Uncle Willie bringing you another little story hour. But this story is for kiddies who like to play baseball. It looked extremely rocky for the Mudville Nine that night. The score stood 2-4 with but an inning left to play. So when Cooney died at second and Burroughs did the same, a pallor wreathed the features of the patrons of the game. A straggling few got up to go, leaving there the rest, with a hope which springs eternal within the human breast. For they thought, if only Casey can get a whack at that, they'd put even money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, and likewise so did Blake, and the former was a puddin' and the latter was a fake. So on that stricken multitude a deathless silence sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey's getting to the bat. But Flynn did drive a single to the wonderment of all, and the much despised Blakey tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted and they saw what had occurred, there was Blakey safe at second and Flynn a hugging third. Then from the glad multitude went up a joyous yell. It rumbled in the mountain tops, it rattled in the dell. It struck upon the hillside and rebounded on the flat, for Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. Then when the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance glanced in Casey's eyes. A sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered spear came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman, the ball unheeded sped. "That ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said. From the benches black with people, there went up a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on the stern and distant shore. "Kill him! Kill the umpire!" Someone shouted on the stand, and it's likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand. With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey's visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult. He made the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the spheroid flew. But Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, "Strike two." "Fraud!" cried the maddened thousands, and the echoes answered, "Fraud!" But one scornful look from Casey in the audience was odd. They saw his face go stern and cold. They saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let the ball go by again. The sneer's gone from Casey's lips. His teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel vengeance his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go. And now the air is shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere Casey has struck out. Yes, my friends, it's time once again for Just Plain Phil. As you remember yesterday, Phil was trapped down in the coal mine with only enough air for 25 minutes. Mary was going to the hospital to see Jacob when she was run over by a beer truck. Grandma had fallen down 6 flights of stairs and was lying with a broken arm and 2 broken legs in water which was very steadily creeping over her head. And poor little Hortense was being held as hostage by the villains who robbed the girdle factory. But before we return to the story, here's a message from our sponsor. Do you suffer from nagging backache, borderline anemia, athlete's feet, halitosis, dandruff, corns, warts, or carbuncles? You do? I am really sorry to hear about it because our product can't cure any of these. But if you are a sufferer of jungle fever, you are listening to the right program because nothing is better for jungle fever than Mother Martha's miracle medicine. So trot right down to your nearest drugstore and get this great jug for only 25 cents in the easy-to-use 10-gallon can. And now, back to our story. Herman, Claudia's boyfriend, is coming to visit her when a huge boulder comes hurtling down the hill toward him. He stands frozen with fear as it bounds closer and closer and closer. And we interrupt this program to bring you the correct temperature, a service of the Marshal of each coal and supply company. The temperature today is 48 degrees with the humidity rising to 33 and 9/38%. And with these words, Lieutenant Frankfurt leaves the room, vowing he will never return until Uncle Timothy apologizes. Tune in tomorrow, same time, same station, to Just Plain Phil.